Ladies and gentlemen, the following podcast is Wrestling Daft and is scheduled for 1 hour. Maybe more. It has no real time limits, making their way into your ears. First, from a place called Barneston, he is the Pyramid. Rab
It's going to be the funniest show ever because I'm all about the comedy and the money, baby.
How much you gonna pay?
And his partner, the top end of Stevenson.
From Mexico City to Beef Community Centre, I've got stories that are going to blow your mind.
Hello and welcome to Wrestling Daft. My name's Rab Florence, and of course it wouldn't be Wrestling Daft without the man who is wrestling and he's daft, Mr. Wrestling and Mr. Daft.
Thanks for that. Yeah.
It's Grado. How you doing, Grado? You alright?
Hi Robert, how are we? What have you got in your hands? What's
I've got a wee cognac with me today. I've got a wee
cognac?
Courvoisier.
I've got a lovely cocktail. Well, is pink gin and lemonade's not a cocktail, I don't know.
I would just say that's a gin and lemonade, really. I wouldn't call it a cocktail, mate.
But it's pink gin.
I know, but for me, a cocktail needs to have more than two elements to it. It has to have more than an alcoholic bit and a mixer. It's got to have more than that. You know what I mean?
Fuck, I've been telling everybody I'm on the cocktails.
Nah, that doesn't count as a cocktail because let's say you had a Jack Daniels and Coke. Would you call that a cocktail?
No.
There you go. Pink gin and lemonade. It's just two components.
Yeah. Have you ever tried with Jack Daniels and Dr. Pepper?
I have, and I like it, mate.
It's alright, innit? I don't like Dr. Pepper, but it's not bad with Jack Daniels.
It's called a Jack and Peps, they call it.
Is that what they call it? Whereabouts, in Scotland or in America?
In Ohio, Jack and Peppies.
How do you know that?
You got a Jack and Peppies?
Or has it been the films and all that? Aye.
It's been in Field of Dreams. Do you remember Field of Dreams with Kevin Costner?
Nope.
And there's was Field of Dreams a film with Kevin Costner builds a baseball?
Is that the film where they have the slow motion running?
No, that's Chariots of Fire.
Aye.
Kevin Costner's not in Chariots of Fire. No, if you remember last week we had a fantastic interview. If you remember, Grado, I don't know if you remember. You were part of the interview, but we had a fantastic interview with David Sahadi. I really loved it, and he spoke about Field of Dreams because there was the Royal Rumble Field of Dreams style promo that he did.
Aye, I was pure kidding on. I know you were talking about.
Aye, so obviously you were bullshitting. But anyway, Field of Dreams, a Kevin Costner film where he builds a baseball park and eventually the ghostie's dad comes out of the cornfield. And at the end of the film, the ghostie's dad comes out of the cornfield and comes up to him and he says to Kevin Costner's dad says to him, you got a Jack and Peps? Jack and Peppies? That's what it says.
Oh, because is that what he's feathered drank before he snuffed it?
That's what he's feathered drank
before he snuffed it.
So get that, watch it, because it's a really sad bit.
It'll be on it'll be on Netflix, won't it? Aye.
It will be. It'll be on all of them. Netflix, Amazon Prime, Love Film, Blockbuster Video.
Is it 90s? Is it a 90s film?
Azadvideo.com and streaming on globaltowerrecords.com.
Is it a 90s film?
It was made in the 1890s. 1890s. It's a book. It's actually just a book, but you can still stream it. Right. So anyway, all the talking shite out the way. Have you been? How have you been maintaining social distancing, washing your hands, wearing a mask, and keeping yourself safe from the killer virus we now like to call Mr. COVID-19?
Well, social distancing, aye.
You're not doing any of the rest of it. You're not washing your hands.
See, I wash my hands, but I pick my beak. It's hard. It just defeats. You know what I mean?
Aye.
I'm a serial nose picker.
Because they say don't touch your face.
That's hard for me.
And the minute the government stayed, the minute I saw Nicola Sturgeon, and she was on a tell and she says, "Don't touch your face." She says, "I thought Grado's fucked."
I'm on because you know, see what I do. You know, I've got this gimmick where I touch my nose and then I sniff it. I'm a fucking. Any used to notice that? Aye.
Do you ever scratch your lower back, right?
Mm-hmm.
you scratch your lower back, but maybe your wee middle finger will slip down kind of into the crease of your arse a wee bit. Just a wee bit, and it feels a wee bit of moistness there. And then you bring it up and you kind of just sniff to see if it's a kind of shitey smell or just a sweaty smell.
I done that once, right? Well, I've done it plenty of times, but I done that once when I was about 11, 12-year-old, right?
Mm-hmm.
And unfortunately, it was, there's a fucking dog in here. Claude, what you doing in here? Hey, anyway, it's my bird's dog in here. I was sitting with a boy called Callum Coffey, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I must admit, instead of trying to touch my lower back, I knew there was something up with my ring. And I fucking put my middle finger in my bum. No, in my bum, but you know, around about that area. Pulled it out. my mate Callum went, "What the fuck is that in your finger?" And I went, "Chocolate." And fucking... He believed it.
He believed it. It's a... You're saying he believed it as if the fucking joke's on him. You're the one that ate the fucking shit. You're the one that ate the shit and you're like, he believed that.
So I ended up getting worms out it, right? So I had to go to the doctors. And my doctor, Dr. Daz, he went, "Have you been eating feces? Have you been eating feces?" And my dad, I was going, "What's feces?" And my dad was going, "Have you been eating shite? Have you been eating your shite?" And I was like, "No, Dad, I haven't. But obviously it was that sitting with Callum. That's obvious. If you Google it and all that, I mean, I've later Googled it later in life. If you do get a bit of shite in your hands, you don't wash it right, and it ends up getting in your gob, you can get worms. So...
Been eating feces.
Been eating feces.
Unbelievable. Right, so we've got a wee bit of correspondence for last week's episode. Let's say try and just lift the tone us a wee bit. Now, after last week's discussion about the fact that Two Doors Down and Scott Squad Grado's shows go up against the mighty Burniston my show at the Scottish Royal Television Awards, we asked the listeners if each show was a wrestler and a triple threat, who would they be? Now, Scotty has said Scott Squad are the Bushwhackers.
Right.
Burniston is Macho Man and Two Doors Down is Mr. Perfect. Fucking, I'm not happy about that.
So, right, let me get this right. Who's Scott Squad called again?
Scott Squad are the Bushwhackers, according to
And
Scotty.
you're called
Burniston is Macho Man. And Two Doors Down is Mr. Perfect. I don't get that. He never explained his thinking there. So let's move on to James, who says Burniston is Brock the best. Two Doors Down is Adam Cole, will be the top guy. And Scott Squad is R-Truth, unfunny.
That's quite funny. That's funny.
No, hold on. I like R-Truth. I think R-Truth's funny.
I thought he was funny there, Nick, throwing that Money in the Bank carry on with Higman. I thought that was quite, apart from the slap.
So Scott said that Scott Squad is Grado, Burniston is Hulk Hogan, and Two Doors Down is Mick Foley. There's no rationale for these. There's no... People have just... We shouldn't have asked them such a stupid question, John. Maybe
that was quite a good question.
You're in there, you're in your house, you're fucking shaving your head, shaving all his hair off, trying to make yourself look like James McAvoy in that fucking Split film about the guy with the beast and that.
Well, just
working out.
Quick fact. My girlfriend did
your girlfriend in Two Doors Down is James McAvoy's sister. We know. Big love to the James.
Is that enough?
Sending love out to the McAvoys here. A good bunch.
You don't know why you like them.
good Tims and a good bunch. Good bunch and a good pair of Tims. No, a good quality, great actors. Right, so Paul says Scott Squad would be the big boss man. Burniston would be Doink the clown. Would it be evil Doink though, or the kind of shitey?
All that random cunt kid when he was Doink the clown on Sunday night.
That skinny guy.
Not nothing like Doink the clown.
I hated that bit.
He was more like that fan that's in the audience. It's quite. That thinks he's over. He's on Twitter. Did you think that as well?
In
That
fact,
was horrible, mate.
in
They
fact, I
couldn't get
hated it
anything.
to the extent my wee lassie Hope says to me, "Who's that?" And I went, "That's nobody." I
Aye,
said,
you didn't even say it was
I
going
didn't
to
even
be. Aye,
explain it. I didn't say it's meant to be an old wrestler. I just went, "Oh, that's nobody." I said,
aye. That was poor. That was lazy.
2 doors down would be Hornswoggle.
So he's kind of burying 2 doors down
He's not
in Burniston, but
He's not
putting over
burying
Scots
2 doors down. Why is he burying 2 doors down by saying it's Hornswoggle?
because he's wee.
Couple more celebrity heel face turns since last week's discussion, by the way. Let's move on for that. That was garbage.
That was fucking horrific, mate.
That was garbage. Thank God we're here, Grado, to
I'm
make
glad I
these
was
bits
tagged
better.
in that shit on Twitter. No wonder I don't go on it anymore.
Thank God we're here.
Fucking hell, right.
Paul Dustin Diamond says... Paul Dustin Diamond...
Dustin Diamond has Screech.
Screech, you saved
He's in
the
the jail
bell.
for stabbing somebody.
Aye, went for lovable geek to doing porn and then stabbing a guy in a bar on Christmas
Aye.
Day. Now, hold on. I would just like to state that doing porn doesn't make you a heel, right? Okay. I'm going to be a face and a porn. Okay. So get a grip. Come on. Let's be supportive of sex workers.
Yeah.
They're
getting paid. Come on.
Yep. And then stabbing some guy in a bar on Christmas Day, that is quite bad.
It's a Christmas Day.
That's bad. If it had been in Halloween, it would have been fine. Because it's kind of, in the kind of spirit of the...
Fucking Screech, yeah. Can't take him anymore.
Johnny Liddell, fucking Screech, fucking Scream me, I like going about stabbing cunts. Scott says Lance Armstrong. Oh, aye. What a
That's a good one.
He was a big baby face.
Because he was my favourite singer of all time, Brock Lindo, 36 Crazy Fist hero. And he always wore the yellow band. Everybody wore the yellow band, didn't they, really?
What are you talking about?
Lance Armstrong, he brought the yellow band, the wristband.
Oh, aye.
I remember everybody had them.
But who was your favourite singer?
Brock Lindo, 36 Crazy Fists.
Right, and he wore the yellow band.
He was Lance Armstrong Daft. He used to post poems about him and all that, and just all these kind of discussions. And then I think I sent a message when word broke out there was a cheat and all that, and he just kind of went,
These things happen. He was a fighter. He was a great athlete. He did beat cancer. He did, the fucking performance enhancing drugs won't help you beat old cancer. He did that himself. I'm going to.
Is it got cancer?
He did have testicular cancer years ago, Lance Armstrong, and beat it.
That's how the. What am I asking that for? That's how they broke out the bands.
That's
Was it
what
no?
the bands are about.
Right.
So I'm going to say no. I'm not going to say that about Lance Armstrong. It's a difficult. It's complicated.
Hulk Hogan was the WWF champion. He never got there without taking a gas. Come
Total
on.
Falafel says Brian Adams face to heel for obvious racist reasons. Brian Adams went on a bit of a rant about the Chinese this week, blaming them for coronavirus. I would like to personally thank the Chinese for cancelling Brian Adams' tour. And Axl Rose did a heel to face for taking the US government to task last week. Why was Axl Rose a heel? Because he got a bit fat and weird.
Or he walked off the stage at Download 2006. Did you know? Because we were Celtic fires. I wasn't really directly involved in it, but there was fires involved and stuff like that. I think he walked off the stage.
The worst. I don't believe that for once. I wasn't directly involved in the fires. I mean, I did. It was my lighter, but
it was the same night as ECW One Night Stand 2006, which ended up a very, very sadly disappointing outcome. And guess the reason why?
Why?
Because Sandman fucking had a Jim Johnson song.
Oh, aye.
You know what I mean?
Aye.
It was all right. It was the greatest the first year, but see, we just, you know what I mean? And the scene and RVD stuff was great, but come on, man. Sandman needs his song.
Has anyone seen the clip doing the rounds of Sandman walking out at a hall in England to the open golf theme because somebody fucked up the CD player?
No! When do you see that?
Where do we find this?
It's incredible.
Was it in 2001 at Wrestle Express?
It might have been. It's an old clip, but he walks out. There's an empty hall to the open golf theme. It's just brilliant.
What's he doing? I need to see that.
I need to find this.
I can't see we can see it.
Right. I've sent you that on Right.
Where have you sent it?
Sent it on the wall.
So we can watch it on our phones. Does he? November 2. Oh, I love Ian Dice Clay. He's great. He's great on Twitter, mate.
The message. Where is it?
WhatsApp.
What's that?
Oh, WhatsApp. Sorry.
Right, is he? John Chapman, I know him as well. Sounds, yeah.
Here we go.
That's fucking amazing, man. Still smashing the can. Have you seen that? I mean, you see the best it is. He's a promoter, right? You fucking book Sandman for his entrance.
Yep.
He's paying a fucking couple of grand on flights. You know what I mean? Fucking hell. Oh, sorry. I just fucking think that's hilarious.
Beautiful.
I'm going to retweet that actually. Right
Okay. Right. Okay. Beautiful. Right. Ben Hall says Kermit the Frog was a massive face, but he went heel at the beginning of the Muppets movie because he dumped all his mates.
Oh, right. You're better off asking Swoggle about that. He's into all that, isn't he?
And now, hold on. Regular correspondent Broncello sent us a screen grab for the Wrestling Network of Grado eating a sandwich while chatting to AEW's best friends. Grado, what is that all about?
Well, they had been annoying me all day. I sat next to them at WrestleCon. They'd been doing my tits in. Will you do my podcast? Will you do my video and all this? I says, like, I can't be arsed. I can't be arsed. Eventually, they went, right, we'll pay you $200, right, we'll do it. So I went up to his hotel. It was the best move I've ever made because that, next, where you're what, the screen grab of me sitting with Chuck Taylor and Trent Barretta, next door, Kenny Omega was next door with Stone Cold Steve Austin.
Was that when you met Stone Cold?
Yes, that's when I walked in and went, hi there, this is TNA wrestler Grade.
Did you meet Stone Cold while wearing a Job Squad t-shirt?
Aye, eating a Jimmy John's.
You missed that fucking detail when you told that story before.
Al Snow gave it to me for nothing, man. That was fucking great to me. And that's really, that just shows you like, the enthusiasm I had for that interview. You know what I mean? I'm sitting there with a big fucking massive roll. It's called a Jimmy John's.
That roll looks brilliant, by the way.
That's like, Jimmy John's is like Subway times 20. That's what's on Brock Lesnar's shorts. It was nice, and I just get steaming and working.
What did you say? That's what's in Brock Lesnar's shorts?
I think that's his sponsor, Jimmy John's, is it no?
All right, got you.
Right, you go, mate. That's the thing CM Punk was moaning about, remember?
Got you.
I've told you being in his house, haven't I?
Aye. Do you have a Job Squad t-shirt on that night? Pablo's been at the Photoshop again. After we talked about the fact the Big Show is always crying this week, it shows the big man meeting a bunch of fans while crying, and he says, "It's a Big Show meet and greet." So it's a picture. So we're basically, producer John has asked us to describe a picture to you again on this podcast.
To piss you off, because Pablo did it the last time and you actually cut a promo on him, so there you go.
Really? Is this the same Pablo? I don't remember.
It is. He's put hashtag Wrestling Daft, hashtag Big Show, hashtag yes it's a picture, hashtag I know it's a podcast, hashtag I thought it was funny.
That is.
Listen. I need to say something. I'm looking at this picture and all I can really look at in this picture. That's quite funny, the picture. All I can really look at in the picture is these statues, these WWF statues. Their statues are rotten,
mate.
Man.
If type in the Dusty Rhodes statue.
Dusty Rhodes statue, WWE.
Folks say it's me. Right, hold on, Dusty Rhodes WWE statue. I'm sure folk have fucking hung it up before me. See if you can get a right close one. Apparently it's metal. If you go the one I've got.
Yeah, the one he's like a big close up. Goodness.
You got it's like me.
No. Maybe it was a time, mate. Maybe it was a time. These statues.
Get these statues, man. I seen this couple of them. They were. I think that Roddy Piper one was at.
The Roddy Piper
one. Money in the Bank. That's not Roddy Piper. That's Ric Flair. That.
The Roddy Piper one's rotten.
Aye, so the
who does their statues?
Who does their fucking statues? You're saying who does their statues?
We need to find out who does their statues because their statues are fucking dog shit.
Maybe get it off that. What's that website? Is it Alab?
Wish.
Wish. Aye.
Statues off Wish.
Aye, they must just order bulk fucking thingies.
Garbage. It's garbage.
I've been getting a piss taken out of me on my breakfast show because I'm getting my dolls made, and they think it's nothing like me. They're coming next week. But I think have I showed you my dolls?
What
No,
dolls?
this is terrible. For,
Dolls are you?
Aye.
No.
Wee
Can you
Mexican
show me
woman's
one?
make me them. Wee Mexican woman's make me one.
Can you show me?
Aye, hold on a wee second.
You don't have the physical one yet, no?
No. But what did I see? They're all getting made just now. Should be here because I've paid extra for them getting here quick enough. See, gracias, that'll be her. That's the last message she sent. Wee woman from Mexico. She's doing my doll. Right, hold on. Right. Hold on. To see if you can see it.
That's pretty good. It's pretty good.
Who do you think, John?
That's all right. That. How much are you selling them for?
Oh, about £50 or something. I don't know.
Pretty good.
I don't know. I feel. Do you know what? Let me ask you a bit of advice.
Mm-hmm.
I would feel bad about pimping merch during this virus.
I would.
I don't think you can date me.
There's something about. I don't think. I don't know. It depends. I think it's really bad if you're doing something like, for example, a mask. Like a face mask merchandise would be really disgusting.
I can't get over that. I cannot get over it. Is that a rib?
A face mask would be disgusting, I think.
Hold on, Rab. Are you trying to refer to the fact that you can now get your very own Wrestling Daft face mask?
No, see, but this is the thing. This maybe sounds like me doing an elegant wee transition into punting that face mask. I am genuinely saying that it's disgusting. They sell it, however, the punters might want an example of. There's nothing more wrestling than trying to sell a fucking mask with fucking Wrestling Daft on it.
Rab, I must admit, as soon as I seen that picture, because obviously we're in a WhatsApp group, and John sends us this fucking new merchandise idea. Well, I think it's already. Is it up?
It's up. You can get it now. I found out. Listen, the people that we work with came to us and said, do you want to do this? And I said, well, there's maybe an opportunity there, coming from...
To make money out of people dying.
At least we're getting...
Because everybody's going to be wanting to buy a face mask. And
I know, at least we're getting them away for free, I suppose, aren't we? Oh, wait a minute.
Donating something to the NHS?
Wait a minute, 13 quid? Oh, sorry, I thought it said free there for a minute, but it says $12.99.
So we'll literally maybe see about 50 pence of this, Rab, but at the same time, that's fucking blood money.
Everybody is I would say it's a public service because...
Right. Well, you need to...
I would say it's going to be a collector's item because it's going to fucking end all your careers.
Right,
so people out there should buy them. People want to buy the things that ended all your careers.
I don't want this to be out on Twitter, as in terms of, John, don't be tweeting about it, but I want to hear the Wrestling Daft listeners' views at us and tell us what you think about us being involved in a fucking COVID-19 face mask.
I think you'll find Rangers doing one very soon, Grado, and let's see what you're wearing then when Rangers bring out a face mask.
All right, okay.
Rangers are bringing out a wee mask with a wee flute on it. A flute pointing out that way.
You've always got to go to the sectarianism, haven't you?
I'm sorry, mate. Right. And Mero and Grado versus Alexa now. As Adam Crawford been in touch saying, Grado, forget about Alexa. Google Home is what you want to be asking.
Right. Let's hear it.
According to Wikipedia, Graham Stevely, better known by the ring name Grado, is a Scottish professional wrestler and actor, currently signed to World of Sport Wrestling and Insane Championship Wrestling, where he is a former ICW World Heavyweight Champion.
TNA? Was it no? I was in TNA.
Were you in TNA?
Was it no St. Anthony? I'm not even signed to ITV or ICW. I just turn up.
You never mentioned TNA. If you want to get in touch with us about any of that or just random wrestling related stuff, get us on Twitter at Wrestling Daft or Insta at Wrestling Daft Podcast or just Wrestling Daft on Facebook or email us wrestlingdaft@gmail.com. Every week we like to separate the good for the bad in wrestling, the Jimmy Corkills for the Fred Talbots. You need to listen to last week's episode to get the juicy details on all of that. Grado, what you want to bury and put over this week? Because I know you watched Money in the Bank. Money in the Bank, baby.
Right. I felt when I was watching Money in the Bank, it reminded me of me and my pals playing wrestling in the corridors when it was a fucking wet playtime. You know what I mean? That's what it felt. That's what it came across to me. What's the woman name? What's the woman wrestler for Japan called?
Asuka.
Asuka. She'd done my tits in. Or that screaming. Right. I'm trying to think what was good. I liked Bruce Pritchard. Or Pritchard, whatever you want to call it. The Doink the Clown was shite. I don't know how I feel, Rab. I really don't know if it was a big pile of shite or if it was just alright. It was nothing groundbreaking. And the getting launched off the top of the building was quickly buried by immediately showing a fucking zoom shot of a fucking crash mat where they get through.
Right, okay. Here's my take on it. No. Here's my take on it, right?
I bet you would. Right.
Here's my take on it.
What did you say to it?
Well, here's the thing, right? Here's my take on it. I thought it was a missed opportunity.
So they are.
Match, right?
So they are.
I thought it was a missed opportunity. I thought the concept was good. I think a lot of people were very excited to see what they would do. But I think there was a real lack of fresh ideas in there. It felt juvenile to me. It felt difficult to invest in because it was kind of daft and cartoonish in the wrong way. The references that were made to older wrestlers now, I have to disagree with you on one point, Grado, in that having Brother Love pop out at one point is absolutely meaningless. 2020. Why that is happening, I have no idea. Why you've got Johnny Ace driving out and making his wee appearance as well, John Laurinaitis making his appearance, no idea why that would be happening. Why it's even there would be a...
who's obviously filmed it in her house and her iPhone.
Steph is fine because at least she's currently in.
All right. I mean,
at least she's currently there, Grado. Right, but my point is having people like John Laurinaitis and Brother Love and Doink even.
The fans know that they're working backstage.
No, come on. I just kind of feel like it's so Vince, the ideas felt so great. Dated. They felt so dated. The ideas.
The Vince stuff could have been great.
The Vince stuff could. I mean, everybody was hoping, I think, to see Vince. And that stuff was all fine, but there was just. It was just, for me, idea-wise through it was poorly executed. It felt like a first draft, I kind of rushed together. Like, who can we get a holiday to do the wee kind of appearances and stuff like that? The office felt horribly empty, I think. This is another one of these problems where you don't really consider in your head. I think when everybody heard the idea, they were kind of visualising that Super Bowl WWF advert almost with people in the offices and stuff like that. And it just felt, again, this kind of empty, soulless kind of thing. I didn't like it. It didn't do it for me. And I do agree with you, Grado, actually, that I'm a big fan of Asuka. I think she's great. But this new spin on her gimmick, by the way, where she's doing all this daft, frantic behaviour is slowly starting to do my boxing. I'm serious. And this is what I wanted to bury as well, because obviously Becky Lynch announced her pregnancy, right, on Raw. And now we have this segment, which is a lovely segment, I think, but is completely ruined, completely torpedoed by Asuka having to perform within her new gimmick, which is this ridiculous running up the ramp and dancing about on the commentary desk and all that. Asuka was, when she was in NXT, she was, here was her gimmick. She was a mysterious, fantastic, tough, unbeatable wrestler for Japan. That was her gimmick.
I've never used
she was a hard ass. She was a hard ass. She was like an unbeatable iron wrestler for Japan who was mysterious and had a kind of charismatic air about her. What this is that she's playing now is just a sewing kind of.
That would have pissed her off.
When she was seeing Asuka. And she was like, "What is her fucking deal? What is going on there?"
That's one of the ones where you're affronted,
dancing about. I was just like, "Let this fantastic wrestler just wrestle. Let her just fucking wrestle. What is this nonsense?" That's my.
No, do you know what you've said? That's mate. It's funny, man. You are pure intelligent with shit like this. You really are. But juvenile was a great word for it, because just the stuff where like Daniel Bryan and AJ Styles arguing about who looked like a gonk in Vince's office and stuff like that. Fuck me, man. It was a pile of fucking jobby.
But also, here's the thing. There needs to be no in a million years, I think, back in Stone Cold and the Rocks era and all that, can you imagine anybody coming to Stone Cold with this idea? You go and you end up fighting and you brawl into Vince McMahon's office and you realise Vince is stoning there and you shite yourself and you fix the chairs and all that. There's fucking no way Stone Cold would have stood for that. He'd have been like, I'm not fucking doing that. I'm not doing it. I'm not looking like a fucking idiot. I'm fear to the boss. I'm not doing it.
And they did a lot of fucking stupid. And there was, what was it? There was another bit and all that AJ Styles looking at a photo of the Undertaker. I mean, come on.
I didn't feel that was that bad. At least there was a wee bit of background for that. At least there was like, oh, he's scared. It's fine to go, he's scared of the Undertaker. I'm all right with that. He sees it. He has a wee bit of a kind of triggery moment where he has a bit of a flashback.
It was a picture.
They went too far with the room with the blue light, I think, and all that. And I don't know, mate.
But the Doink the Clown thing was the late. Surely somebody sitting there in the edit would have went, don't put that in it. You know what I mean?
Aye.
Because there would have been bits that have taken out, and I'm thinking, how the fuck did that not get cut out?
There was wee moments.
It was literally a skinny guy with a fucking. He didn't even have the bald bit in his head that Doink had.
No, it was crap. It was pointless. There was wee moments that were annoying me as well. Like there was moments where AJ Styles was coming up a corridor and he was trying the doors and they were locked, and you could see that he was doing that stage thing you do, where you kind of it isn't actually locked. It's open. He's doing a fake. It's locked, and
Like Judy Judy was on reading her books last week with Richard and Judy, and you know she was doing that fake drinking coffee or tea.
Yeah,
you tell the fucking cup was empty.
You can tell. So it's all these wee things were annoying me. Was there? I hated the food fight bit.
That was fucking.
I stopped.
Although the only thing that saved that was Heyman's selling the food in his face.
Yes,
that was the best bit about it. But
I just feel like who finds food fights fucking funny now?
And then they're playing like it was something for Home Alone with the soundtrack to it. There was just And this is a main event. Look, I mean, listen, we sound like we're hypocrites because you know people come on here and they give their opinions and they go, I didn't like this and I didn't like that, but. Fucking missed opportunity is absolutely spot on, Rab. That could have been fucking well good.
All that it had to be was like people. It was almost as if it felt almost as if the WWE themselves thought this idea is daft, so we're going to make it daft. When really, I don't think actually punters when they heard the concept thought that it was a daft idea. Do you know what I mean? I think when punters heard the concept, they actually went, "Oh, this sounds cracking." You know what I mean? This sounds cracking. You know what I mean?
Because I thought it was maybe going to be like the first match was going to be in the gym. You know what I mean? Like a match in the gym, and then the next match might have been some, you know, like the catering area or do you know, like something like that.
Yeah, but also they missed an opportunity to do interesting things with the fact the woman and the guys were wrestling at the same time as well. You could have had a good, like a proper serious face-off with like Nia Jax and Rey Mysterio, for example. You could have had a wee moments like that where you were.
They did have one moment, but it just looked daft when Shayna Blazer had the fucking Rey Mysterio and a fucking chin lock.
Aye, they didn't play any straight. You know what I mean? You had wrestlers slipping on some water and getting knocked out, and it was just a terrible hodgepodge of stuff. There was one moment in the match, however, that I thought was brilliant.
Well, let me try and see if I can guess.
Okay.
It's no the leaving AJ Styles with the weights, was it?
No.
Was it to do with a woman or a man?
No, I hated that bit. The AJ
that
Styles
was crap
bit with the weights,
because
you could see that he could get out from under it. You could see that he could get out.
Aye. Who was it involving?
Here's what I loved. King Corbin.
Right, you go.
King Corbin.
What? Just him all the way through it?
Just a wee moment with him. Right at the start of the match, in that gym room, right? He flings something and smashes the mirror. And he stops and he looks at the broken mirror. And he just has a moment. There's just a moment where he's looking at it. Obviously, thinking to himself, it's fucking 7 years bad luck for me. You know what I mean? And that was just a moment for me that I thought, this is amazing. They should run with this gimmick. King Corbin should be losing matches for the next fucking 2-3 years and blaming that mirror.
You are a genius.
But that must be what they're thinking. That surely must be what they were thinking because they shot that bit. It was a beautiful bit.
Do you know what? I'm jealous of your mind sometimes. I'm so jealous of your mind.
Away, mate. You come up with ideas. Mate, you come up with ideas while you're in the ring. You're sharper than me.
No,
look, here's the thing.
Fucking brilliant. Do you know what? I'm gonna get into my group chat with a couple of wrestlers and say that, and hope they don't listen to the show this week.
I think that might have been Corbin's. I'm really quite high on Corbin. I think Corbin.
No, mate. I don't know what it is.
Oh no, I think he does a great job. I think he's a great heel. I think he's good in the ring as well, and I like to watch him. And that wee moment there, I thought this guy's going to be blaming this fucking mirror smash. I hope they should run with it for 7 years.
He was a tank. I thought he was a tank, but he's not. He's just tall.
Yeah, but he's
He's Dustin Diamond.
He'd batter me. Anyway, let's see what the punters say. It was nice to have a chat about an actual wrestling event, wasn't it?
First time we've ever reviewed a fucking match.
And it was good, wasn't it?
First time.
It was actually good.
But
maybe you should watch wrestling.
Do you know what I'm really interested in? And you might know the answer.
Mm-hmm.
What did David Meltzer rate the match?
Oh, I don't know. I'm paying no attention to Meltzer.
Quickly,
you guys crack on. I'll find the answer.
But the AEW are paying Dave Meltzer £74 million a year, though. You know this? Did you see this this document that leaked out where apparently Meltzer's getting paid a fortune by AEW? Lot of shite, right? Anyway,
is it true?
Nah, a lot of shite. Scott wants to put over the Last Ride documentary on the network. Absolutely class. I've not watched it yet.
Oh mate, I can't believe you've not watched it.
No, I'm going to watch it this week. But
I'm not going to, without spoiling it for you, the best thing about it is his worker walk. Do you know what I mean by that?
Aye.
His old hobble.
Mm-hmm.
The hobble is fucking, obviously he's getting the option to have the worker walk because he's fucked, right? But his worker walk is tremendous. It's just a thing where it's just like, he has mastered that. But as I say, he's getting the option. He's mastered it.
Scott also wants to say that he loved the Brother Love cameo at Money in the Bank. Absolutely pissing myself laughing.
See, I think also with it, I know as well, even the kind of Brother Love thing is probably aimed at your something to wrestle with audience. And even that is it's been done before. Right? Because did you notice that the cleaner that was mopping up the wet flare had a I used to be over hat on, and that's a something to wrestle with podcast.
Right.
I'm not burying the podcast. I'm just. I don't know.
Yeah. Scott wants to bury Jake Snake Hips Roberts being a total pervert in AEW. Surprised he's not sharing a cell with Corbin after that. I don't know what that's in reference.
John.
It was after the Lance Archer match. It was very, very bizarre that Brandy Rhodes was knocked out and Jake the Snake kind of grinded on top of her. It was
Braveheart and the woman in the tent.
Yeah, it wasn't good.
Oh my god! Have you seen this?
Oh, that's not that bad. I don't think.
No, mate. Go to right. Wait there.
No, I'm at 2
minutes. 2 minutes 51 seconds. Right, go to 2 minutes 51 seconds. Right, then watch.
Yeah, well, that's weird, isn't it?
He didn't need to do that wee shuggle.
That wee wiggle.
He didn't need to do that shuggle, man. What the fuck was he shuggling on her for? You know the best bit of Beyond the Mat, obviously it's depressing, but it's a bit where it's a fucking gold bit of fucking film where he's talking serious about his fucking daughter and all that and his drug addiction and stuff. And he just looks down at his coat and goes, and he notices something he's Jake and he goes, well,
I love that bit.
Chocolate or some shit.
I love that bit. Love it. Scott wants to bury this effing virus for depriving us of a push for Sami Zayn with the Intercontinental title and wants to put over Asuka. She has to be the most entertaining performer in WWE. Well, there you go. David Lugeski wants to bury Asuka when she realised she'd won the belt. Who was she screaming to? Horrendous. My cat didn't ken what was happening, had to mute it. She needs punted back to Japan where that prick Meltzer can watch her.
Oh, that's a funny.
It almost sounds a wee bit racist.
It sounds racist, but we get what he means.
Back to Japan, punt her back to Japan. How about we fucking punt David Lugeski back to wherever the fucking Lugeskis came from? How about that? And wants to put over Rollins for being the only one to take the title off Becky. Fuck off, David. You're banned for this podcast. Right.
The Legeskis have been cancelled.
We're only kidding on. We're just working you. Fire Soul 86.
Working you, brother.
Putting over Baron Corbin on Twitter, just destroying geeks left, right and centre. I've not seen this, but that's probably good. Burying Seth Rollins for being unsafe again and potentially ending Becky Lynch's career. Get it? Because, had sex with her. Right, Jardo says, put over Becky Lynch. Think it's huge for the top women's wrestler in the world to take time out to have a kid, as this is probably something that discourages a lot of women in the business due to their career being on hold. Amazing for her to prove anyone can be a mom and a wrestler. Well said, nicely done. Bury the shite, doink the clown at Money in the Bank. Who even was that? I want to find whoever that was and fucking battle him, man.
Whose idea was to keep that in? I mean,
Can I dress up his doink?
How do you doink?
Can I dress up his doink?
How do you doink? How do it?
I can be a doink.
Rotten.
Right, rotten. Liam Nielsen says, bury Sammy for getting the title taken off him for no fight in 30 days. For 30 days, but it's all right for Brock. Put her Drew for just being Drew, calling everybody bitches.
So that's my bird asking me how long I've got left.
All right, we'll not be long. We're nearly done. Because that's the end. Tell your girlfriend not to worry, because that's the end of the burying and putting over segment. Let's move on.
You just made the list!
Okay, it's time for the list of Wrestling Daft. Now, this week on our Patreon, we asked for you guys to vote on our list of Wrestling Daft for this week. And remember, you can vote for this by signing up for $4 a month at patreon.com/Wrestling Daft. No backslashes or you'll get slashed. This week, it was the worst gimmicks against the worst themes. And the winner, with 60% of the vote, was worst gimmicks. So it's my turn to... Well, I'm going to tell you what my 3 worst gimmicks are going to be of this show. Now, I know that a lot of people are going to say the Shockmaster probably and things like that, but mine's are going to be a wee bit more interesting.
You're too intelligent for that. Come on.
I'm too intelligent for that, right? I've got a reason for everything that I do. Okay. At number 3 is the Blue Meanie.
What?
The Blue Meanie.
Why?
Because I have no idea. See for me, I'm just being personal here, right? See for me, all I could work out that guy's gimmick was that he was just an annoying cunt.
I couldn't. I like.
Wait to hear what my not fucking number 2 is.
Okay.
Blue Meanie always annoyed me because I just kind of felt there is something about. I know there's there's cartoonish gimmicks that companies give and all that, but the Blue Meanie, I could never really get my head around what I was watching with the Blue Meanie. I hated the gimmick, and I thought the guy was capable enough. I just kind of thought I had a facet to it, or where's the depth in it? What is it? What are you? Is it blue hair? What is it? You know what I mean? And it's just a gimmick I don't like, so that's my number 3. Is that all right, boys?
You've really fucking dug deep to find the Blue Meanie.
Thank you. My number 2 is Eugene.
Oh my God, you are kidding me on.
I'm not kidding you on.
Right, well, we're going to have words here. Why, you better not say that it was disrespectful and all this.
Eugene is arguably the worst gimmick in wrestling history.
Absolute bullshit.
It was a gimmick that was always borderline offensive. They never really knew how to play it. They never really knew how to play it. It was always borderline offensive, and he was a character who always weakened.
So Forrest Gump played somebody in a film that was.
No, come on now.
No,
wrestling isn't Forrest Gump. Wrestling isn't Forrest Gump, and we all respect to Nick Dinsmore, right?
Aye.
He isn't Tom Hanks. Okay. No, I know you know the guy personally, and I'm sure he's a good guy.
It's got nothing to do with that. It's got nothing to do with that.
He's a good guy, but that gimmick
to do with that, and he couldn't be a prick sometimes.
That gimmick was a gimmick that if somebody watched you watching wrestling and Eugene was on, you felt embarrassed watching it.
Look,
you felt embarrassed. And also, just from a pure storytelling wrestling point of view, Eugene never enhanced anybody that he was in the ring with. He never. Wrestling has got to be a give and take thing. When you're in the ring with somebody, right? There has been occasions where people have made you look good, and you've come out looking stronger. And there's been occasions where you went in and you've put guys over and made them come out stronger. You put Eugene in the ring in any situation, and nobody's coming out with merry a shine on them. Nobody is. If he beat,
look good.
sometimes he was even beating guys. Sometimes Eugene was
I
even
thought there was
beating guys
nothing.
that he should have had no fucking no way should he have been beating them. No way should he, even for a bit of fun. It's a gimmick that I hated. It was a gimmick that had no worth in professional wrestling.
Let me ask you a question. Did you not think it was great that they explained, obviously, for his character that he had learning difficulties, whatever? Right, so I need to say that again. Right, so his character, would you see his character had learning difficulties?
I don't think even the WWE knew exactly
what the
character was.
I liked the bit where Regal was in the ring with him, and Regal's kind of strobbing him off, going, right, whatever, let me see, and he's showing him what to do, arm drags and whatever, and Eugene just bests him every time. Did you not think that was great?
I'm not saying that there wouldn't be moments, right, in Eugene's run where people try and make the best of a bad situation, but it was people were always
fucking millennial.
People were always fighting an uphill battle with that character. The second worst gimmick of all time, Eugene.
Are you raging that I'm disagreeing with you on this?
No. I think it's completely fair enough. I imagine lots of people will disagree, to be honest. But my number one, however, is a wrestler that I love. And the reason why I've chosen this gimmick as number one is because I feel like this is one of the prime examples of the WWE completely dropping the ball with somebody. And that is Stalker DDP.
That was bizarre.
Bringing in DDP, who wrestling fans loved and still love to this day, and bringing him in as this weird stalker character to go up against The Undertaker was one of the biggest gimmick misfires I think there's ever been. Because
he could have been, really, see when you think about it, we can all say in hindsight the invasion angle, but he could have been the true leader, him and Booker T, because they never had their Goldbergs, they never had their Stings, they never had Nash. But DDP was WCW.
He was a WCW's People's Champion. He should have been in going up against The Rock. It should have been
he should have been the first guy. In fact, see, you mentioned that. I think that's true. I know you don't agree with him, but I'm sure Cornette booked the invasion angle, and I'm sure he had DDP versus The Rock.
That's what it should have been. That's what it should have been. Bringing him in that weird situation, expecting you to boo him, expecting you to boo a guy that you fucking love against The Undertaker, and doing that to try and make you boo him.
He was on Ricky Lake and everything back in the day.
Let's see what punters say.
Was over.
Let's see what punters say. Chris hated when WCW ruined Mike Awesome and turned him into the fat chick thriller and that 70s guy. Yeah, I agree with that as well. Complete Russo garbage.
Because Awesome is so underrated.
Yes.
So underrated when you watch back his matches. What a big fucking lumpy a boy.
His matches were great. Real shame is Awesome could really go in the ring. His match with Tanaka at One Night Stand is one of my favourite matches of all time. That is a dynamite match, man. Dynamite match.
I missed that.
His match with Tanaka at One Night Stand.
And his Heatwave 98 is a great match. They wrestled each other, and also at Hardcore Heaven 2000, I think.
We love him, Big Mike Awesome.
They've always had great matches. I mean, when you watch it back now and you think in hindsight with old CTE stuff, Jesus, do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And then you think to yourself, God rest him, I know, and you know what, I hope that didn't play a part in whatever, his last couple of years. And
Yep. Guybrush Threepwood says that Kerwin White, although his theme tune was banging.
Totally forgot about that. Totally forgot about Kerwin White. I forgot about Kerwin White.
Goshy says Goldust at 7. As 7, was he no a mad pedo? I don't remember the mad pedo aspect. I actually quite liked 7. I quite liked the whole entrance, the floating and all that.
But was that a shoot? Well, has that ever been cleared up?
No, I don't know.
When he gets in the ring and he goes, "Look at that fucking stain of me," Oh,
it's brilliant, man. I would love to get him on this show, man. Dustin on this show to talk about some of that stuff. What a legend. Christopher says Shucky Ducky Quack Quack.
Was that Booker T?
It's not really a gimmick, was it?
It's just like a annoying saying, isn't it?
Darbo says the Shockmaster lasted about 2 seconds. Nah, but we don't. Nah, I'm not having that.
No, that's somebody that's just Darbo's just got the internet.
Aye. Grant McGarry says, what about the Yeti? Came out, done up like a mummy, and proceeded to dry hump Hulk Hogan. I kind of love all the mad gimmicks for the 80s. John Montgomery, Gobbledygooker was supposed to be away for Hector Guerrero to come in, and he assured everybody he could wrestle in the outfit, but in the end he could hardly even get in the ring.
That's funny.
Stuart Taylor says, I'm going to keep saying beaver cleavage every week. Beaver cleavage was, that was a weird one, wasn't it? It was like that was a weird one.
What was beaver cleavage?
It was your boy out of the...
Was it Mosh?
Yeah, it was your boy out of the...
Headbangers.
The Headbangers.
Right,
And
I
he
think
came in
that
a weird relationship with his ma kind of thing, wasn't he?
Aye.
It was like a Leave It to Beaver type thing. It was garbage.
I like this next one.
Peter Stewart, The Undertaker. Never seen that jabroni at a funeral yet.
It's good, isn't it?
That's good.
That's good, man.
Listener of the week. I'm happy. Listener of the week, gang.
Before you, definitely listen of the week.
J.S. Todd, Phantasmo the Magician, who appeared, squashed a few guys, then disappeared, never to be seen again. That's maybe the perfect gimmick. A guy just turns up, fucking batters a couple of guys, then poof,
Done his
gone.
job.
Kyle MacArthur, any dancing gimmick before or after Too Cool, it just doesn't work. That's not true, because there was a dancing gimmick. There was Alex Wright in WCW, who used to come out and used to do a bit of dancing. He had a bit of dancing.
That was
German,
funny. Like he was in a
kind of dancing
European nightclub.
Aye, kind of Eurobeat. I loved Alex Wright.
Aye.
See WCW, I loved him. Even when he was Berlin, when we
Aye.
changed into Berlin.
Aye,
Loved
Berlin.
Alex Wright.
Who was the guy that had the electric guitar in WCW? He was always on Saturday Night Live. What was his name? He played the guitar here. What was his name?
Was that no Van Hammer?
Aye, Van Hammer. That was it. That's Van Hammer, mate.
Also, Zeus was a pretty shocking gimmick for WCW. Sandy says all of the early mid-90s occupational gimmicks like Dean Douglas, Duke the Dumpster, Isaac Yankem, DDS, why did they all have to have normal jobs and be wrestlers as well? And Gavin Dobson says Papa Shango.
Me laugh for some reason.
Simple as
It's
that.
just somebody sitting there that's just went, fucking Papa Shango.
Papa Shango. Papa Shango.
Woo!
You can go Wrestling Daft by sporting your very own Wrestling Daft t-shirt. I think it's fine to buy a t-shirt. Get them at shop.spreadshirt.co.uk/Wrestling Daft. It's acceptable to buy a t-shirt. On there you'll find designs such as I'm a Mark, I'm a Take a Bump for you, Chips, Cheese and Doner Meat, and I'm a Wrestler too. Plus, new to your stand in these times, you need a face mask. So right now you can look fucking hell. It says here, Grado.
I can't believe they're actually
It
getting
says
us to advertise this.
John has written here, right now you can look COVID cool.
You are kidding me, the fuck
Your very
on.
own Wrestling Daft face mask. Don't fucking buy a face mask. Jesus
Don't
Christ.
buy a face mask.
Don't
tell M they were selling face masks.
No, don't fucking tell anybody that.
Look, these listeners, this is a group. We're together, we're sitting together here. Don't let MD know that Rab, Florence and Grado are involved in a fucking company that are trying to benefit out of fucking illness.
You vote with your feet here. Don't fucking buy any of these masks. So check out a range of t-shirts and hoodies though, right? And phone covers. You can get phone covers at shop.spreadshirt.co.uk/Wrestling Daft now, or check out the links on our Facebook page or Twitter at Wrestling Daft. Now it's time to introduce at last a right good Tim onto the show. Finally sitting opposite this staunch Rangers man doing this podcast. I'm telling you, it's nice to have a wee bit of fresh air into the room. Let's introduce he's a former two-time ICW World Heavyweight Champion, a one-time Zero G champion. He currently works in NXT UK. He's in NXT UK. He's in a fucking WWE. He's a member of Gallus. Please welcome the Ironman himself, Joe Coffey. How you doing, Joe?
Joe, before you... I don't care. Hold on, wait there. Before you start the discussion about his trunks, what he wears to the ring, is not allowed on tonight's show. I'm the commissioner for this podcast. No talk about the fucking the Bumblebee trunks and dedicated to the Murdo McLeod fucking trunks and Pierre Van Hooydonk fucking boots and all that shit.
Hold on, right. No, let's start off by talking about Paul McStay. Right. Joe,
the last time I sang a Celtic song in a podcast that come back to bite me in the arse, so wasn't it?
You're known Fitboy Daft anymore. You're known Fitboy Daft, Grado. Forget it. We're talking about wrestling. Today. Joe, how are you doing, my man, with the lockdown happening, with the fact you've no been in a ring, you've had some great momentum behind you, you've been doing your stuff in NXT UK, you've been taking the bull by the horns and doing great promo stuff and all that. How are you feeling? You must be champing at the bit to get back.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to getting back. It's just a strange time for everyone, really. Especially with so much wrestling content on just now. Especially I'm just looking at WWE. I watch Money in the Bank on Sunday and watch WrestleMania and that. But I suppose the good thing is the downtime is we don't get a lot of downtime, and it's almost let me fall in love with wrestling again. Just watching, old matches, old events.
Are you missing the old lady, the canvas? Are you missing?
You miss the canvas,
mate. I just said it today. I'm missing the canvas.
So
I miss caressing her. I miss landing on her. I miss feeling the ropes, the turnbuckles. I'm filling up, I think about it. I miss it now. I'm starting to miss it now. You resent it sometimes, but I'm missing that old lady.
Our mutual friend, Big Sweeney, I said, he messaged me and he said he was talking to you. I went, oh, that's funny, because I messaged Grado, last week with a match. I was like, hey, mate, when you get the buzz back, watch this match. There's tons of stuff that you can do with from. But I have to come on your podcast to hear from you. Billy Big Time.
I was thinking that. I goes, shit, we've got Joe Coffey on, and he texted me last week, and I'm sure I'll be fucking over it. It's usually that way about. It's usually Sweeney. I usually wait about 6 months before I reply to. So actually, you've been lucky with this one.
Joe, you've always struck me as a guy who has always tried to improve himself all the time. Always been working. For as long as I've kind of been aware of you, you've been a guy who's kind of been going through a process of trying to improve as a wrestler, trying to improve all the aspects of your work. So are you going to be doing a bit of that in this downtime? Is that going to be part of the downtime as well? Just to kind of, obviously you can't do the work in the ring, but just have a think about your trajectory and your character and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah, I mean, 100%. It's like you've got to treat it as well as an act. It's it's like an existential personality, essentially, and obviously with both of you being actors and that, getting into a role essentially, and it's what I've been doing. Like I don't like the Gallus firm. I don't walk a bit like I'm not in a gangster firm. Do you know what I mean? So we've had to just watch stuff and take bits from here and there, and I always carry like a pad and a pen around me, kind of like Larry David. Like
that's exactly what I was going to say, Larry David.
If there's an idea that I see on TV, or just if I'm watching something, or like even just people must think I'm mental when I'm driving around. Like I'm talking, like just talking, like there's no one in the car. Do you know what I mean? But just always try to practice, talking and ideas for what might come. And all credit to WWE during this pandemic and downtime. They've been keeping us busy. For example, like giving us opportunities like doing this, coming on this podcast, and doing other different bits of media and like acting seminars and online seminars. And,
really?
Yeah, like skull sessions as well. Like essentially what a skull session is match analysis.
Right.
So, we're like on a Zoom chat similar to this with, William Regal, Robbie Brookside, Johnny Moss, James Mason, and just dissecting matches. So
brilliant.
You know what I mean? Like you cannot argue with that.
That's amazing.
Valuable, man.
But see, Joe, how long have you been wrestling now? When was your first training session?
My first training session was the week before WrestleMania 25. So what is that? 11 years now? 11 years?
2009.
Yep.
I remember, man, because I used to just dip in out the wrestling now and again and all that. And I specifically remember you, Jackie, and Mark starting. And I went, geez, these guys are. I think he's only had been training about 3 weeks, man. And I think to myself, they must have been practicing this shit out the back door or something like that. I goes, how come they're so good at that? And not only that, there was shows, right? And say you and your brother and that, you had been training for like about 6 weeks. And I used to be mortified, right? Because you would have shows where you would do ring announcing, maybe as part of paying your dues or whatever. But I'm thinking, he looks me like a wrestler than anybody on that show. Just put him in a match and let him raggy about somebody. Well, I went tracky. And do you know what I mean? Do you get what I mean, Rab? I was like,
I know what you mean now.
I was mortified that he was having to ring announce and stuff like that.
That was that show in 5-Star Wrestling in Pitlochry.
Yes,
Yeah.
I remember that. I was going, I can't believe I'm in a match and this guy's standing there with a shirt and tie and having to do this when there's some folk on it, 6 stains soaking wet. And
but hold on, though, I'm betting, Joe, that you didn't really think anything a day in the kind of things, because you did a wee bit of time in Japan as well, didn't you? You went over there and did a wee bit of a bit of stuff and
ring announcing.
But listen, Grado, as all the trainees all know in Japan and stuff like that, when you're coming up, you do everything. You do a bit of fucking everything when you're coming up. It's like you respect everybody in that fucking building on the night of the show. So I don't imagine Joe's a guy who would bat an eyelid about these kind of things on the road up. You know what I mean?
But I've got
you need to tell us about your time in Japan, by the way.
Aye, definitely. But before you hit that, what's the memory I've got of being in Korakeun and they wanted to possibly use you as a ring announcer? Was there something? Is that a story? I can't remember.
I don't know if it was Korakeun. I can't. There was a couple of shows that I'd done ring announcing for, and I mean, it didn't bother me. I just, like Rab says, it didn't bother me. You know, it's all part of it's part of the process. And at the time, you know, I might look great, but I might have been still a bit wet behind the ears and a bit green. Might have not gave the best performance, but you know, it's all part of the process. It's all part of paying your dues. And do you know what? Like, from that small moment is getting comfortable in front of an audience, speaking as well, and on the microphone and that. So, like, I didn't really think anything of it at the time. It was just like, this is what needs to be done. Let's do it. And I think, you know, having that attitude throughout the 11 years I've done it, like, you can't always be the top of the card. So you need to find your place, you know, and do your role to the best of your ability. You know what I mean? Like that, like, and as a trainee, it was just good experience.
Aye. So as Rab says, since we're talking about training and learning, what was Japan like? What are you mopping flares? What are you making breakfast for folk? What were you doing? What was the deal? Was it like that kind of idea, or was it a different kind of treatment? Was it different?
So Japan for 01 was probably one of the best years of my life.
Right.
Don't get me wrong, living in poverty, proper squalor, man. Like, we were in this apartment, if you can call it that, and there must have been 12 of us living in this apartment. Like, there was no beds on the floor. You know what I mean? There was cockroaches kicking about, and I remember coming from the airport, opened the doors up, and I went, "Wow." I've got a video on my old laptop. I took a video and I sent it to Mark. And I was like, "This is terrible."
Aye.
You know what? It didn't matter. Like, the crew we had there, like, and the crew that we had in 01, like, all the guys in the, like, non-Japanese wrestlers. We had me, we had Jonathan Gresham, who's in Ring of Honor.
I remember him.
Gordon Devlin, Sean Maxer, who is still wrestling in OTT. James Radine, who's still with I think he's still with 01.
A lot of people in that camp.
Bobby is in New Japan. You know, like, there was a really good crew of folk, and like folk that I still speak to this day and that. And it was always good because we'd be in the dojo and be learning each other's styles. Like, me and Gresham would be more well versed in, like, the old British wrestling style and European style and then some of the guys were a bit of high flyers and that, so we'd all just chip in. But the training was brutal, man. Like,
I can imagine. Once I was absolutely blown away. I'm cutting you off, sorry, but I was absolutely blown away once. There was a show in Coventry where there was about 10 folk in the crowd, but before it, Zack Sabre Jr. and Gresham had a roll about the ring, and I was like, "Holy, they're fucking tremendous!" By the way, the things they were doing, I was just going, "Wow, I can sit and watch this all night." You know what I mean? And then they get put in fucking like a rumble.
But the training was brutal. It was like, you'd be, the first hour would be conditioning, so you would always start off with 500 free squats, and then it would be like some push-up variations on the push-up board, and then you go into like an hour of shoot training, so like grappling and jiu-jitsu type stuff, and then the last hour would be pro training, where you get your rolls in, and then we do whatever.
The best bit, get the rolls in. Hey, Rab.
Rolls, mate.
Roll and slice. And so you do that, and you'd be knackered by the end of it. You'd be absolutely. But like, it's still training that I still do to this day. Like, essentially, as well, being stuck in lockdown, I've got a push-up board, and it's just like deck of cards. What we would do in the dojo, you would choose like 4 exercises. Do that, and then on you go. Do you know what I mean? It's all bodyweight stuff, so it's something that I can take into a situation that I'm doing now. And I always remember something stuck out to me as well. If I ever take wrestling seminars, I will always start with like maybe 200 squats and some kind of push-up variations, and people might moan going, oh, this isn't wrestling, but Finn Balor said something to me that will always stick with me. If you cannot do a push-up or a squat, then it's not that you're not a functional wrestler, you're not a functional human being. Like, if you can't sit up and down a few times and pull yourself off the ground, like, how are you going to get through life if you fall over or something like that? So it's something that's always stuck with me, and I'll always do.
Well, that's because you're strong, aren't you, Joe? This is the thing, though, isn't it? You're strong. That's one of the things that's always, you know, you're fucking strong, man. You're strong. You know what I mean? That's the grounding. You're strong. But there's a lot of people who don't know Grado. There's a lot of people that have muscles and they'll know that strong. You know what I mean? See, there's
a lot of people that don't
Joe's
have
strong
muscles.
for go. He's no strong for show. You know what I mean?
There's a lot of people that don't have muscles but are strong. Right? I just pointed to myself to the people that have not subscribed to the Patreon.
Yeah. You're picking up that wee cocktail glass, no bother.
Cocktail.
But Joe, did you see I always wonder about this, like when you're in Japan, I know you probably had very little money and stuff like that, but did you get a chance to kind of cut about Japan? Did you get a chance to have a wee look and see the sights a bit?
Yeah, I mean, with 01 as well, we toured. So like that was a really cool thing, because like you read like Jericho's books and Bret Hart's books and that. We're on the tour bus and going to different wee Japanese towns, and like we were in like Kyoto, Sapporo, like all these little places. In fact, I posted a picture not too long ago on my socials, and it's like wrestling ring, and we're on this like beautiful beach. Like it looks like a Tekken setting or something like that, or Street Fighter. Just like little things like that. I was really cool. And then you'd always get taken out for these sponsor dinners, which were the best, man. Like Korean barbecue every night. Like
I love a Korean barbecue. I love it.
Did it feel? Was it feeling real at that point? You know what I mean? Were you starting to feel like I'm a wrestler, man? This is like, you know what I mean?
You get that buzz, and it's like I'm in Japan. Like, I remember the first time I done Korakeun Hall, I was like, this is mad. Like, I've read about this place, I've watched it hundreds of thousands of times. In fact, I get my tooth knocked out in Korakeun Hall. I still.
Jeez.
Christ. That's a magic.
I didn't bother getting it fixed. I was like, I'm not getting it fixed. You know, that. But there was a guy, Kohei Sato, I was working, who was just this. I think he was just a shoot fighter, and the first forearm he gave me, I was like, "Oh, your money, mate! Like, what if you know, like, boom!" I gave him one back. I was like, "Right, have this." Gave me another one back. Just the tooth flying out. I was like, "Right, that's how this is going to go." So I was like, "Right, son, let's have it."
Swear go.
I'd wrestled him like 9 nights in a row, and it was like me and James Redine against him and his partner Kamikaze, two opposites. Kamikaze, light as a feather, you know, just like very, very, old pro wrestling style, whereas Kohei was more just aggressive shoot.
And did they know soften up as the nights went by? Did they know?
That's just how he worked. That's just how he wrestled.
Style.
Yeah, it's just how he wrestled. Just had to respect it. But there was then like the fourth night, I turned to Big James Redine and went, "I've had enough of this, man. I'm going to give him what for." So he snapmares me down and kicks me in the back as hard as he can, and like my arms went numb, and I had to like do that to get the feeling. I went, "Oh, sack this, man!" Snapmared him down, booted him up the back. I went, "Come on, then!" He just done it again. He just kept doing it. I see how this is going to be played out, so I'll just tag out at this point. But,
remember the story I always tell you? I bam you up about it now. But when we wrestled Nervin, I had just kind of started back as being Grado and all that, and I was a fucking strob. And I put you in a wrist lock, and you were going, listen up, listen up, listen up, listen up, listen up. I was going, I'm not fucking listening up. I'm not fucking listening up. Remember that?
I remember that, but see if you think about it, man. Like, we had some really good matches that probably haven't got the exposure that they should have had. You know?
The one in Norwich, I loved it, man. That's one of the managed that night. You carried me through that, man.
I know we're jumping timelines, but one of my best pro wrestling memories is us being on tour in ICW, the tour bus has broke down literally at the M6 toll in Birmingham. Just everyone is like, "What? We're not going to make the show here," and then we're waiting on a replacement bus. I think Drew had made it. I think he'd flown in from Evolve, and the only people there are Adam Shame and 2 members of the ring crew. So Drew had to go out with this impromptu promo and just leather Big Shamer and leather these 2 ring crew.
Because name the wrestlers were there yet.
For like 20 minutes, man.
That's brilliant. Was that the night me and you wrestled? No.
We wrestled, and I thought we had an absolute stormer.
I know. I'd like to see that back, man.
Yeah, we had another one in Dublin as well.
Dublin?
We had another one in Dublin where we'd done something where you went for a sunset flip, pulled my trunks down, I was wearing the 4-leaf clover boxer shorts.
Oh, fuck. When was that? Who was that for?
That was ICW as well. It was another tour weekend.
Oh, right. Oh, right. I get it now. Oh, I have other memories about Dublin that night, which I probably can't talk about what happened that night. For fuck's sake, Jesus. And that was the night I'm talking about you with Blaze. I'm not going to mention it, but was that night?
Yeah, that was the one.
I have no memory of that match for you, Joe. Fucking hell, man. I must have. See, they tour buses, man, I have the fear thinking about it. Do you know what I mean? Because it was just
some of the best times I've ever had in wrestling. I felt like with wrestling, it is a very much in this industry. It's very much, it's you. It's like it's not a team sport, but I think you do have to have that team bonding and that kind of. There has to be a bit of teamwork, even though it is like even that, everyone pulling together. We made the show. We made the town, bro.
We made the town, kid.
We made the town. Had an absolute blast, and then on to the next one the next day. So for me, that's what wrestling's about, man. I love it.
You really did have a special kind of thing happening with ICW, but I mean, talk us through your ICW run a wee bit, Joe, because obviously you were right there, significant player for the whole of the run. So how do you look back on the days now? Or does it even feel like you're looking back? Do you know what I mean? Do you still feel a connection there?
Yeah, I mean, like I've not wrestled with ICW as much, just because of the NXT UK commitments and that.
Mm-hmm.
But like, I still love wrestling there. Like the last couple of shows that I'd done, were big main events. Like I love the main event stuff in ICW. That's where I always saw myself in ICW. It was good, man. Like again, like paying your dues. Starting off, I came in as a security guard. You know what I mean? Like, and kind of just built it from there. Like I really enjoyed the runs that I had, especially like with when the lead up to winning the title, and then when winning the title, just that night just flipped it. Like it was supposed to be, you are the number one babyface, and I remember going through the curtain, and I grabbed Rudo Lightning. I went, right, this is how it's going to happen. We are going to, because Graham and Grado just turned that night as well. Right. I was like, that had to happen. Like
I remember this.
Yeah,
did you turn the same night as well?
Yeah, I felt as if I wasn't getting that babyface reaction. I felt as if at the time they'd missed opportunities twice with me to pull the trigger to be the number one babyface.
I remember you deciding that 20 minutes to go to the match or something like that. It was
literally, I was just going out because I wrestled Trent Seven that night, who was hot, man. Like he
was over.
Yeah, and I was like, nah, I need to do something. And then that's how the kind of Rudo faction was born. Well, obviously before with Rudo, but that run was probably one of my most favourites, being a villain, and I got to wrestle a lot of great people, and it just was a different side of the character. Because I've been doing the Ironman thing for a while, and it was a bit cartoony at times, and looking back sometimes you go, oh, it was a bit cringeworthy, but like it was
different, man. It was
over, and to like one of the peak times with the show that we done at the SECC. I mean, that for me, that was one of ICW's greatest moments. Obviously, you taking the title from Drew, I just think that match is just unreal. Like just for crowd reaction as well. Mm-hmm. But beforehand, I'd wrestled Rhino, and I remember I was getting my paint done, so I was still doing all the paint, and then I heard the crowd just going, Turns out they just put like Black Sabbath on the playlist. So to hear the fans' reaction from that, and I was like, oh, thank God, man. I thought like every wrestler has that dream where they're laced up their foot. Yeah. I thank God. But then like going out and hearing the reaction, like you get 4,000 people chanting that. And I remember that whole thing just started off the cuff as well. I had a match with James Scott, and it was an Ironman match. And I remember at some point we locked up, I broke away, and I just shouted, I'm Iron Man. And the crowd just like naturally and kind of organically just started singing the Black Sabbath tune, and then like adding that in. I think Wolf of Wall Street was popular at the time. So I just kind of brought that in, and it just kind of became a thing, and then started doing different body paints. Because I remember I was raging at the same time, because me and Finn had started doing it at the exact same time, but obviously he'd done it at the Tokyo Dome. I was like, well, everyone's just going to think I'm copying him now.
I used to look at the kind of behind the scenes pictures on Instagram and all that before the shows. You and Finn getting your paint done. I used to think to myself, how the fuck can they be bothered, man? Sitting there for ages before their match getting.
With some it was an absolute nightmare, because I remember me and Grado tagged in the Barrowlands against Red Lightning and Jester. So I'd done this like kind of collaboration, like Iron Punisher. So like Iron Man, but I'd done it all Punisher. So black paint head to toe, and Grado had done whiskers.
I came out, but it was professional. It was nice, professionally done. I was a tiger or something like that, wasn't I?
I was a tiger.
I was a tiger. I was a tiger with the whiskers and all this. He comes out with all the fucking proper serious stuff, and I come out with my face painted like Wayne.
Like you were at the shows. You went to the shows and got a.
You went to the shows.
You look like you were on Phoenix nights. The
guy with the Man City top. That's exactly who I was that night. God.
I remember that, like the black paint was everywhere. Like
what was it like getting on Kurt Angle?
Well, I'll tell you what I said. But that match that we had, I looked as if like I was a chimney sweeping Mary Poppins. Like by the end of it. But I remember the match against Kurt Angle. I was painting up, and I started getting the paint on. I went, oh, I've not said anything to him. Give me a minute. And I went in. I went, sorry, Kurt. And he's like, what's up? And I was like, I'm going to put a bit of body paint on. Is that all right? He's like, yeah, sure, no problem. Little did he know I was head to toe in silver, man. And like, I done like splashes in the corner, like at the start of the match, and I could see him like when he stepped out and selling, he was like looking at him. He looked like he was like covered in the silver paint, and I was kind of chuckling because he looked like Schwarzenegger in Batman Forever, the stuff. So I could see that first reaction. He was like, "Oh, what is that was something else, man. What an opportunity to wrestle Kurt Angle, just unreal. Like, and then like 6 months later, he was back Hall of Fame general manager. So like, it was really current, and it was just like, I think if there was two people that I could wrestle, it would have been Shawn Michaels and Kurt Angle, like from that kind of generation. And it was wild, man. So I was actually last night, I was deleting a lot of data stuff from my phone, and there was some pictures of the Kurt Angle thing, man. I was just like, I can't believe that happened at times. You know, it's crazy.
It's amazing memories, mate.
It's nice to hold on to. It's nice to hold on to that, though. That kind of like, I can't believe that happened. I know. Despite the fact you're new in WWE, NXT UK, you're still thinking, can't believe I had that moment with Kurt Angle in there. It's a nice thing. But it's nice. I'm always saying this on this Grado. I like it when people hold on to that. Like, this is magic. Wrestling this person, this is brilliant.
Well, do you know what, mate? I was that with my Mick Foley flannel.
Oh,
I fucking lost it. I've lost it.
How can you lose that?
I don't know where I've put it, mate.
That should have been framed.
You're right, Joe. You're 100% right, because see the singlet I wore that night as well. I've never worn it again since. I don't know if I can fit back into it. But anyway, I should have framed that and got Mick to. Do you know what I mean?
Do you not have a Sabu picture framed?
Yes, I do. But I wish we were in my house right now. I have. It's been on the show before, isn't it, no, John? My Sabu picture.
Aye.
I got this, mate. It's a bit. Honestly, it's a big, massive let's see how when you're watching Money in the Bank and you see all the pictures of the pay-per-views, it's a big massive size like that right above my bedroom, and Sabu scudding me with a chair, and it's one of my prized possessions. You can get that, Joe, if I ever pass.
Well, hopefully not, mate.
If you ever pass.
I know. Man. I was talking like it's weird, man. It's because, see, when I was driving to the radio this morning, I was listening to the Undertaker album on Spotify. It's basically every Undertaker song that Jim Johnson ever created, and it got me started thinking about my funeral, what I wanted and that.
Penny Arcade.
Maybe Simply the Best. And I don't even know where I'm going with this, but it did get me thinking about my funeral. I was thinking, I want fire brigade presents, I want wrestling presents. This is depressing. What am I even talking about when I'm...
Will you have like a prayer playing when your coffin gets bumped, though?
The string quartet version.
Oh.
You want to hear it?
But what, a string quartet? What, during Joe's interview, you're going to play your entrance music?
Joe won't mind. He's used to this shit.
I mean, this is a next,
Joe,
is
you know,
next
used
level
to
stuff.
me taking over and being a prick. I don't want to.
I know. Used to.
I've got it. Just right here. I've got it right here. Strings.
Here we go.
You have
ready?
to sing along.
How good's that? Rab, you're one of the pallbearers. Joe. We shouldn't be talking about dying, man, you know.
This will be your music, Grado, when you're wrestling Sting at WrestleMania next year. That'll be your entrance.
Got that in it. The
I know,
only reason
that'll be sad, mate.
The only reason why I'm doing this is because... Say again, Joe?
You get too much time in your hands, mate.
I know I do. But one of the main reasons why I'm doing that is because I know that all the boys will be listening and they'll be going, fuck, Grado had to get his shit in when he was interviewing Joe. Do you know what I mean? I know I'm going to get banned up for it. So there's my wee bit, and that's it.
I mean, there's your wee bit. You interrupted Joe when he was saying hello. When he said his first fucking word. His first word you interrupted.
Oh, do you think, am I becoming Ewan Cameron?
Will we just put two doors down and we'll have a watch along?
Well, aye. God, you've put an idea in my head. I'll watch
Right, Grado, who is an arsehole in Two Doors Down? Which actor? Who do you hate in the cast?
Graham Stevely.
None of them, mate. They're all brand new.
They're all brilliant. Even Elaine C. Smith.
Elaine C. Smith. Aye, of course she's amazing, but you're just trying to catch me out because she's a mega Celtic fan. I know why you've asked me that. It's got nothing to do with it.
I didn't know. Do you think I know who everybody supports? Right, so Joe, tell us.
Elaine C. Smith sends me... Joe, Rob, if you started...
We need to talk... we need to talk a wee bit, Joe, about... while we're on the subject, about the fact you have been representing Celtic or in NXT UK. You have been doing that now. I think that's really... When I saw that, I think it's a really refreshing thing. Not because it's Celtic, right? So that's not the point. The point is that in Scotland, I think there's always been a thing, like when I started in the telly game, right? There was always a kind of thing where people would say, like, don't make it clear who you support because
you've always backed this, Rab. You've always said this.
You lose a portion of your audience. But I've always thought to myself, no, just be open in who you support. You just respect people's intelligence and just be open about who you support, because there's nothing wrong with a healthy rivalry in a sport. But I did think it was really refreshing the fact that you did what, you know, a lot of wrestlers have done over the years who will have their favourite hockey teams. You'll see Jericho coming out and, you know, have hockey shirts and stuff like that, you know, represent the teams that he loves and stuff like that. I thought it was refreshing that you took that into NXT UK fearlessly, you know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean, like, essentially I just wanted, like, a different colour scheme. Like, I used red, black and white for a long time. I just wanted something different. And I just had a couple of ideas. I was like, I was basically running out of ideas for trunks. My trunks were dead boring, man. Like, they were like, they looked like proper old school JC on them, and then like a colour or something.
I have
like
got a pair. I need to get them back, mate.
Oh yeah, just before we kick into this, you know, Telestar messaging me, do you have a spare pair of black trunks? I'm playing a wrestler in the latest instalment of Morse or whatever it was.
It was Endeavour, aye.
Endeavour, aye. I need a, you know what I mean? Pair of trunks, 35 quid. Jesus Christ. I know times are tough, mate, but bloody hell. Yeah, I just wanted...
I wore yours on the show, so there you go.
I didn't get any. I didn't even get any credits on the role, you know. But just like different ideas, and then I started looking at retro Celtic kits, and like some of them are like fascinating, and like I obviously have a lot of them, and you know, love the colours and the colour scheme. So we just kind of went along with that, and I thought about it because I was never vocal on social media for a few years about what team I supported, but everyone knew anyway. You know what I mean? Like, I'm always at Celtic games as much as I can be, and I just think if you don't want to support me, or like, you know, don't want to support my career just because of what team I support, I'm not fussed. I don't need people like that in my life. I don't need that small, closed way of thinking. Do you know what I mean? I've got hundreds of pals that
spot on. That's exactly what I say. If ever, you know, you get a tweet, or if I put up a picture like me and Natural Nova or something like that, oh, I'm unfollowing you now. I'm like, so you don't have any Rangers fans as pals? You know what I mean? Is that
like
the deal?
even at the BBC Sports Awards, the Sports Personality Awards, I couldn't help it, man. I had to go up and talk to Gazza. I was like,
did you get that through NXT UK?
Yeah. Again, like I'm
That's
not
amazing, mate.
Another opportunity. We were at the BBC Sports Personality Awards, literally sitting on the front row. On our row was us, the Love Island boys, Princess Margaret, Chris Hoy, trying to think who else, Phil, Gareth Southgate. You know what I mean? I'm like, I didn't think these were supposed to, like, our seats.
Did you bow for Princess Margaret? Did I get cut off there? Did you get my question now?
My camera didn't freeze, don't worry. But no, like, it was just like that, and like in Gazza, I was sitting there, and I was like, I can't not talk to him. Do you know what I mean? And then like, I spoke to him. I was like, mate, I hated you in the 90s, mate. That's hated you.
Brilliant.
But I was like, but I respect you as a footballer. And he went, are you a Celtic fan, you goblin?
You're goblin.
It was class, man. It was good chat. It was like, you know what I mean? But like, even like opportunities like that, man. I never thought I'd never be at like stuff like that. We're literally sitting front row. You know what I mean? I think we get featured on the telly a couple of times as well. It was crazy.
Yeah, imagine this. Here's one to take right to fucking Vince at WWE, right? Imagine Joe versus Drew, right? At Hampden, right?
Oh, mate.
With Celtic legends and Rangers legends coming out like the Undertaker's monks, man.
Have you just thought of that?
Of course I did. Just
so creative,
big
mate.
Big old firm style wrestling match, man.
Richard Gough and Paul McStay come out together at one side and another. Theo Snelders and Gordon Marshall and fucking.
Imagine it.
Brilliant, man.
Just imagine it, mate.
Just imagine like a higher power type, the higher power, and it's unveiling, and it's Chris Sutton. It was me, Drew. It was me.
And we've got to have Mo Johnston in there today. Just a wee swerve turn right in the middle of the match. Celtic cap back on.
You know.
What you mean? So he takes off his leather jacket, he's got a Rangers tap on, but then he goes punches somebody, then he takes off the Celtic tap on. That's brilliant.
Proper Tyson stuff.
That'd be great.
On the topic of the Celtic Rangers thing, right after takeover in January, obviously Walter beat me. First, I can't log on to my phone all day, and then I get back to the hotel.
This is Walter, the German wrestler, no Sir Walter.
Aye,
right.
So, opens up. Walter's beating me. First tweet I went, ha 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 ha. You must be raging, always getting bet by folk called Walter.
That's like, brilliant. That's brilliant.
I was like, I tweeted back, I went, good tweet, mate.
That is a good tweet, man. See, that's when it's good, when it's like that, the banner's like that.
Yep.
You know what I mean? If only everybody could be like that tweeter. He's listener of the week.
Here, Joe, is it sore when that big Walter hits you? Is it sore?
Nah. I mean, there was a couple of times, you know what I mean? Like, that's the thing, like the psychology of chopping.
Aye,
you might take a couple, but like the way that, like the reason I think a lot of people miscredit chops because getting whacked in the chest like that, it takes your wind away. So like if you're thinking of the psychology of a fighter, if you're constantly chopping him down and you're taking, you know, like your breathing pattern away and things like that, but I think, you know, from seeing pictures and that, I mean, I've got a big chest, so I'm all right, but like the state of some of the chests he's left his imprint on.
I love taking a chop. See, when people say, "Do you mind chops?" I'm like, fucking brilliant. It's the best thing to sell. It's the best way I can.
I think if you're in the wrong game, if you're you don't want to get
Fucking chop.
Wrestlers are chops daft. I remember like pub stoning everybody all slapping each other, chopping each other in the pub. Like for like 2 minutes, like for fucking 45 minutes. This great guys stopping each other. Rab, come here, take one off his shamer. Know what I mean? When you get one right across the nipple, man, you get a fucking a stinger right across the nipple and all. I remember thinking myself, this isn't a normal world, this, all these boys on each other in the pub.
For every walks of life, you know what I mean? You actually set in Linwood, man, you'd get so many different characters, and you're right. It's funny how I could just picture you coming in and walking in on just like big shamer and conscious, just going down the line and just slapping everybody across the chest, man. Fucking their horn like that.
I've got a good one for you about Shamer. He'll deny it, right? But I remember it was Mark.
This is Coach Trip for people.
Coach Trip. He'll deny it, but it was Mark's first day. And Mark's not as calm as I am. You know, he was just not taking any crap. So as he walks in, I've said hello to everyone, handshake. Shamer walks right up to Mark and goes, "Hi, how you doing, Adam Shame, 5-time SWA champion?"
That's brilliant. I love Adam.
He's the best, man.
He's the so best. Good.
Aye, so Joe, when all this passes, right, when everything all passes, and hopefully, we're all hoping things get back to normal, the wrestling game gets, but the fans come back in again. What's next for Joe Coffey? What do you want? What's your? Because like I say, you've always got your eye on the goal. So what is the goal next for Joe Coffey?
You know, I've failed twice to become the NXT UK or WWE UK champion, NXT UK champion. So the goals, that's always in the back of my mind. You know what I mean? Too big. I mean, don't get me wrong. I'm not taking away, you know, how important it was to be on the first UK takeover in the main event and then go back to Blackpool the following year. You know, I think it shows like a level of trust as well. Yeah. But I think that, you know, like the Gallus firm, Marcus and Wolfgang, they've got the NXT UK Tag Championship. So I feel as if I'm letting the side down a little bit. Do you know what I mean? It's gold for Gallus. Do you know what I mean? And that's what I'd quite like. But I'm looking forward to go back. And you know, if I don't know when, you know, I don't know when. It's very it's unpredictable with the way the situation is with this pandemic. But I have been looking at the shows like Raw and SmackDown and NXT. I tell you something, I'd love to do one of those empty arena shows. Like I think, you know, and I think the UK style doesn't get the credit where it's due. Like especially that hard hitting kind of aggressive, gritty style. So I think that would suit it, and I think people would be taken aback about, you know, when they hear some of the strikes. I mean, for example, we were talking about Walter. If you heard a chop from that in an empty arena, that's going to echo. You know what I mean? So, but it, you know, as a great man once said, it's nothing without the fans. So, you know, football is nothing without the fans. It's the same as wrestling. So I'm looking forward, and I'm sure the fans all around the world are looking forward to getting back and enjoying some kind of normality and enjoying going to the shows. You know, I think fans and wrestlers alike, once this is done, everyone's going to have a newfound appreciation and respect for just the little things, like being able to go to a show and, you know, and enjoy themselves with their friends or their family.
Because we have been taking it for granted, didn't we? We've been taking for granted even the things like just the close-up interactions with wrestlers, you know, wrestlers fighting through the crowd and stuff like that. We maybe go to a point where fans will just taking that kind of interaction for granted. And I think to get back there again, I think people will look at it all a lot differently.
Yeah, 100%. You know, and it's even just looking at it from a personal aspect, you know, like just day-to-day life, you know, like I think I've seen my folks a handful of times. Like I went up to my mum and dad's because it was her 60th, So just dropped like presents off, man. It's not the nicest feeling, do you know what I mean? Like when you can't see friends and family properly, and it is frustrating, do you know what I mean? So, but I'm glad Scotland is, you know, in solidarity together, do you know what I mean? That we're agreed that we need to stay home, we need to save lives, do you know what I mean? I'm very big on the NHS, do you know what I mean? I've been doing what I can as well to help any NHS folk as well. And it's just a more found appreciation for when things go back to normal and we can actually enjoy ourselves again.
And you've always seemed a very mentally strong guy as well, so I'm sure you're coping all right. And
I've had my moments, man. Do you know what I mean? The hardest bit of isolation, I think, is when I go that weekly shop. Because in the back of my mind, I'm not going to be on TV, or I'm not going to be in a ring anytime soon. You know, you can relax a little bit, but you can't. You know what I mean? Because you never know. So almost the fridge is under lock and key now, and it's just trying to maintain that kind of level of discipline and things like that. So but at the end of the day, I know this isn't forever, and I know hopefully wrestling will be. So I just kind of have to keep myself on track and tell myself, right, fatty, you don't need that pint of Ben and Jerry's. Do you know what I mean? Like, you don't need it. As good as it tastes, but yeah, you know what I mean? Like, it is what it is. A little bit restless and that. And as I said, like, I remember we were doing like a watch along. Me, Mark, and Jackie were doing a watch along for WrestleMania on WhatsApp. It's just itching to get back in, you know, especially like just things that reignite like a little bit. Like, I've never lost the passion, but because it becomes every day, you know, you kind of can't take a step back. And watching things like that Boneyard match, I was just like, this is why wrestling's cool. You know what I mean?
Speaking of Boneyard match, how you finding working with JB?
JB's the man.
Yeah, isn't
he? Just like, again, like, I've got a mate, Tony, who like he loves JB, and just he loved like all the old WCW stuff that he was involved in, like WCW Live, and like I just said, like I'd said, by the way, I was just off the phone to like JB. Like, I wasn't name dropping, I was like, just off the phone to JB, and he's like, oh mate, that's class, you know what I mean? But he's got such a good brain, and like just some of the stuff that he's been doing with the online content promo wise, like the guy's invaluable, man. Like,
did he give you a lot? Did he film the stuff that you done in Glasgow? Has he ever come up and filmed yours?
Yeah, we've done a few promos with him, and a couple of stuff that hadn't aired, which would have been really cool. It just wasn't the right time. We'd done stuff in Wolfie's old pub, which was class, man, but it just wasn't the right time to air. So he's been brilliant. Him, and there's an Irish lad who was doing all the stuff for OTT, Sean. Like, them working together is just unreal. Some of the stuff they've been producing is just crazy. Like, proper cinematic versions of what wrestling should be. And the good thing about it is they're both quality guys as well. So, you know what I mean? And just having that different aspect, and it takes wrestling to another level as well.
See, you were saying you were talking about it was either HBK or Kurt Angle you would have liked to wrestled. Were you involved in the super kick stuff?
I was, man.
The music, I should say. Tell us about that. Because I was heavy jealous of that, man. I was like, wow, that must have been amazing. I mean, I was buzzing for you, but I was like, I'd love to take that. Because I would just take my tree hang, but I'd love to do it, man. I'd love to take that. It was like...
So I remember watching WrestleMania 26, and I was like, I mean, I was nowhere near anywhere near levels of wrestling, but I was like, I'll never get to wrestle Shawn Michaels now. You know what I mean? It was like, this opportunity came where, you know, I think it was like a dark, like untelevised match, and I think it was me, Mark, and Wolfie as Gallus against Travis Banks, Tyler Bate, and Trent Seven. So I had this crazy little 10-minute match, and then there was like everyone's down, and at that time I was feuding with Pete Dunne, and he comes out, snaps his fingers, and does all his stuff, and then like I just see this guy run past me in a black and white shirt, so I'm down. I'm like, who's that? Shawn Michaels. So as soon as I seen that, I was just like, super kick, super kick, super kick. Just straight away, I was like, right. Slides in, counts the 1, 2, 3. I think it was on Wolfgang. We're out. And I just looked and I just ran in. Or actually,
oh my God.
So there's a video kicking about somewhere online.
With the fans.
You see me and Mark both sprinting, running, but Mark yanks me back. So he slides in. Boom, super kick. Boom, super kick to Wolfie. Boom, super kick to me. And like, I remember getting back.
So nothing discussed beforehand. This was just like.
Nothing, didn't know. It was so cool, man. Like, so organic, just amazing.
How cool was that, Rab?
Brilliant, amazing.
And then, like, we sat down in the locker room and just looked at each other and went, that was amazing. That's just...
That's what it's about, but...
Yeah, like, honestly, you can't put anything on that. Like, you can't put a price on that. It was just something that I'll take with me as long as I live. And I think somebody got a really good picture of it as well, man. I was just like, that's...
Get it framed and put it above your office computer.
I don't know if I'll have a patch on that Sabu one, mind, but just that moment and to have that as a memory, you know what I mean, and to be in there with your childhood icon of wrestling, you know, it's invaluable. And even just getting to speak to Shawn Michaels and talk about wrestling.
Brilliant.
It's crazy, man. Like, just the way he looks at stuff, it's just in a whole different plane. It's the best.
It's a bit like me talking when I used to talk to Johnny Swinger backstage at TNA, man.
It's beautiful, isn't it? It's a beautiful thing about wrestling that you go to yourself, well, how do I know when my dreams have came true? It'll be when this particular guy kicks me in the head. That's when it'll be.
Here, Joe, see how WrestleMania weekend there was plans for you guys to get there that weekend?
Yeah, we were due to go out for access, and I think we were putting some stuff there. So again, like, it was a massive disappointment, but it's for the good and it's for the better as well, you know. And I kind of saw it coming a little bit, you know. Like, I'm into my theories and stuff like that, and I've kind of tracked this virus for a while since it started in kind of December, January time. But you know what I mean. As long I'd rather there was the right precautions, the right precautions taken so that people stay safe and you know, lives are saved essentially.
Excellent, Joe. Well, listen, thanks so much for coming on the show and keeping us. Hey, listen, by the way, can I expect at some point when you're back again going for the title, you maybe try and get Jerry Cinnamon to do a bit of entrance?
Oh, you loved Jerry Cinnamon, didn't you?
Get him in for a live performance.
Oh, mate, that would be unreal. Like,
have you not asked him? Have you not asked him if he would be up for it?
Nah, like I've never asked. I'm just a massive fan of his music, man. And like, again, like, there was something like, I think he's brilliant, man. Like, I've lived every one of his songs. You know what I mean? I think if you're from Glasgow, you've maybe lived every single lyric. And there was a really cool moment actually at Belgium Festival. He was playing a couple of years ago.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know how he knew we were. I think he knew we were wrestling, but like, after one of his songs, he just like went, That's a wee shout out there for the Coffey Brothers, Wrestling Super.
Beautiful.
Like, proper buzzed about it, man. Like, and Adrian Lionheart was there.
Oh, wow.
He was running about Daft going, that's my pals, that's my pals.
Of course you won't be doing that.
Next time NXT UK comes back to Glasgow, surely we need to make that happen.
I know. We're scheduled to be back in Glasgow in July, so I would say a big fingers crossed if we could make that. Hopefully that show can happen, but we'll see. But that would be something special if he even done like the theme song for a NXT UK takeover or something like that. That'd be pretty class.
Cool. Brilliant. Well, Joe, you've been a belter. You've been different from the rest. It's been great to hear from you. Thanks very much. Have you enjoyed yourself?
It's been brilliant, you know what I mean? It's been brilliant. I'd love to come back on at some stage.
Oh, I definitely.
Absolutely, mate. Well, you take care of yourself. Tell your brother I was asking for you and your ma, who I bumped into at Silverburn one day. Well, she opened my call and went, I'm Joe Coffey's ma, but aye. That's how it Right. Cheers, Joe, big man.
Cheers,
Thanks
Joe.
very much,
Thank
pal.
you. Good to catch up. See you later, Joe. Right, well, before we wrap up, Ian Grado, what a great show, great interview, great to catch up with Joe. Who's our listener of the week? We decided it was... we decided it was...
Level 12.
Peter Stewart. Peter Stewart. Congrats, Peter. That's what we like. We want good par on the show. Thank you. So... Please subscribe, review on Apple, get us wherever you get your podcast, leave a review like this one. Naka Legend said, "Fair craw podcast, so it is. It's nae Jim Cornette's drive-through incident, but no much is," he says. Plus, remember, we now go twice a week, so you can catch us on a Friday and the Mark's podcast on a Tuesday, where this week you can hear an interview with Christian.
Right, so wait a minute. So Christian and all that is on the fucking Sunday Night Heat version of the show. Is that right? You kidding me on, man? Is that fucking right?
Gary's a man in the know. He's pulled in the big interviews recently, so we've had
good on him.
Step up your game, Grado here. Step up your game. Get fucking Jimmy Snooker. Grado,
Do you know what? I think it would be good if we get Nick Dinsmore next week.
Oh, mate, I've just fucking binned them.
But no, I think it's interesting now. You've built something.
I don't want to interview him because I've binned him. You want me? Why would you want me to interview a guy I've totally binned the week before? I've not binned him. I've binned his gimmick that the WWE gave him.
You need to give him a chance to defend himself. You've just blackballed his name.
Mate, it was 20 years ago and only 10 people listened to the show.
It was about 16 years ago. Was it 16? 2003, 4? Guys, if you want Eugene on the show, tweet us.
Also remember...
But don't tag, to make it unawkward, don't tag Nick in it, right? Because he'll just confused and start phoning me and all that.
Also,
don't be grassy.
Start phoning me.
Don't grass and Rab, right?
They're going to fucking grass me in now. They're going to be there with a fucking wrestling Daft mask going fucking grass me in. Listen, I'm happy. I'll fucking talk to the guy and I'll just say, look, I think they done you a fucking injustice there with that fucking character because you were on a hiding to nothing with that, mate. How many times when the WWE does a retrospective of like stuff they've done, like now, before, forever, tomorrow, right? How many times do you see fucking Eugene in that footage?
How many times do you see Christian?
How many times did you see Eugene? Christine had his own show in the fucking WWE network not long ago. Christine.
Kudos down.
Christine, the hairdresser. How many times do you see Eugene featuring on any of these things? Where's the big Eugene retrospective on where's his DVD?
I'll tell you what, one of the fucking greatest moments on Raw is when The Rock returns to back up Eugene, and The Rock G's Eugene up, and Eugene says that The Rock, his favourite wrestler's Triple H. I think that's fucking brilliant. And also, me and Eugene had a bum bag on a pole match in Kent, which Vince Russo watched, and this is a true story, and he could back this up if he comes on the podcast next week. We come backstage and Vince Russo was greeting. He goes, I got tears in my eyes, bro. I got tears in my eyes. That was fucking beautiful. That was beautiful. He loved it that much.
Well, Vince Russo fucking loved G.I. Bro as well. That's what he did. That's what he did to Booker. So Vince Russo can fucking suck my dick and all.
He never come up with G.I. Bro.
Oh, he did. Fucking Jim Cornette was right, man. Jim Cornette was fucking right about Vince Russo, man. I fucking love Jim Cornette. Thanks for listening, folks. Remember to get on our Patreon, patreon.com/wrestlingdaft to check out. Remember, everybody, we're just working you, Eugene.
Alright, we're looking.
I actually thought your character was absolute genius. You're Tom Hanks. Check out the video version of Why No, buy yourself a t-shirt. shop.spreadshirt.co.uk/wrestlingdaft. Just buy a t-shirt.
Buy a face mask.
Beautiful.
This guy.
Beautiful.
Right, well, up the road. That's your sale.
That's your sale.
Up the road. 11.
Audio Frontier.